And all new at 10 tonight, there is an angel in Greenville, and it's helping keep kids safe every year. The South Carolina Secretary of State's office names 10 angel charities. Now, these are nonprofits that put the vast majority of their expenditures back into their charity work. The Greenville-based group, Defenders for Children, made the list this year with 91% of their spending going towards their mission. Fox Carolina's Grace Runkle shows us how they're making a difference.
You see, you can hide a laptop. Where is it? You can hide a tablet, a micro SD card. You can hide this virtually anywhere.
No device is too small for Q to sniff out. Trained in electronic detection, she's an integral part of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. The devices she finds contains evidence that helps deputies arrest criminals involved in human trafficking, child pornography, and sexual abuse. But Q wouldn't be keeping Greenville safe without the help of Tony Clark.
I work hard. I need a belly rub. In 2010, we launched Defenders for Children organization because the levels of child abuse was extremely high in this beautiful community. We heard about these wonderful tools, beautiful canines that had the ability to locate hidden electronic evidence.
Since then, they've raised enough money to place 5 dogs in departments across South Carolina and 1 in Georgia. But Q was the first.
They do try to hide the devices, and so that's where the canines are a valuable tool.
Make it work.
Sergeant Michael Rainey says Q has found SD cards hidden in charging blocks.
Anything you can imagine, you can store an SD card in.
After 100 searches, Q has found more than 75 devices.
One missed device can be a child's life, and so we can't afford to have any devices missed.
But Clark says Defenders for Children isn't done.
We'd love to see one of the canines located in every single law enforcement agency that does work with children's crimes.
Grace Runkle, Fox Carolina News.
And if you'd like to make a donation to Defenders for Children, you can find out at foxcarolina.com. Also inside of our news app. Coming up at 11 o'clock, we'll tell you about a special event the group's hosting where you can help them make a difference and meet one of their canines. And